Good morning, Jörg. Mr. Jörg Hischer, we already know you from yesterday. You're a main character here in this show. So I think this also reflects how important service is among all the SIKORA offering.
Yeah, first of all, it's a pleasure for me to be a part of this great show here. And service is for sure very important. So, you know, we are a manufacturer of measuring devices, and such measuring devices, they need definitely support, they need service, and calibration is a very big issue.
For the visitors who has just joined us today, could you again quickly give us an overview about the whole scope of service offering here?
Yeah, for sure. We have a wide range of services. It starts with repairs, spare parts, support for sure. We have maintenance and calibration, but also refurbishments and commissionings on site. So we have a really wide range of services available.
And now going to deep dive into calibration and maintenance. So what is the calibration service about?
So as a supplier or manufacturer of measuring equipment, we have to offer for our customer for sure a professional calibration according to ISO 9001, because our customer needs to know whether the devices are showing the correct values. And for customer with only a few devices which are transportable, we're offering this service in our plant in Bremen. That means the customer will send the measuring devices to us, and our service team will make the calibration. For sure, during the time of calibration, the customer is not running without a device, because in most cases we can offer them a loan device for the time that our engineers needs to do the calibration. For a customer with a lot of devices, or with large devices like the X-Ray 6000 or the X-Ray 8000, we're offering calibration in combination with maintenance on customer's side. And this will be then done by one of our field engineers, either from Bremen or from our worldwide subsidiaries.
Wow, that's a full range of offer again. You mentioned the ISO 9001, I think. So is there anything else, any other requirements and quality standards to fulfill?
Yes, for sure. And my colleague, Mr. Thomas Vasilov of our quality department, he has prepared a few words to explain it better than me.
Let's see.
For our calibration processes, we use the international standard ISO 70025 as a reference. We are often asked by automotive suppliers whether we are allowed to calibrate. The answer is yes. As a proof, we have created a declaration for our customers that complies with IATF 6949 regulations.
I really like one sentence. The answer is yes. We already had that during our Q&A session, right? So the answer is always yes. But now maybe we had the calibration part. So what about maintenance? What does this cover?
Yeah, maintenance is also a big part of that what we are offering. So, you know, especially like, let me explain by the X-Ray 8000.
Sure.
So the X-Ray 8000 is a device with wearing parts and with mechanical parts as well. And so in combination with the calibration, we are offering a full maintenance of the device. That means our engineer on site will take all the calibration tools with him, but he will also take a lot of wearing parts with him to replace it on site, to keep the device in a very good shape, and to guarantee that the device will not fail during an important production. So maintenance for the X-ray includes for the complete inspection of all electronic components. We will inspect the device safety, important for X-ray devices for sure. Then we will check and adjust all the test voltages that we have on each PC board. We will check for sure also the condition of the fans, because if the fans get dirty and it cannot cool down the device, overheating can damage the device and it could fail during the production. And to avoid this, we will clean the fans as well.
Okay.
The hard disk is also one part that has to be checked by our engineer, because a hard disk is a wearing part with a limited lifetime, and it is important to react in time, to copy all the data, to save all the data, and to replace the hard disk. And the hard disk will show you in time that it will fail because on bad tracks and other things. And our engineer will check this as well. And
Still going.
All the mechanical parts of the device will be checked by our engineer, and if lubrication is necessary, he will do this as well. So at the end, the customer has a full set of maintenance.
Afterwards, the customer has a new product.
Not a new product, but a reliable and good product. At the X-ray, we will exchange the sealings of the scanner to avoid that oil can drain out. We will exchange the guiding clips of both scanner, quite important to keep the receiver unit in position. And very important is the replacement of the window flange. The window flange is a little airtalute part where the X-ray beam can go through, and if this failed, the oil will come out or drain out of the scanner and the device failed completely. And so for this reason, we will replace it every year during the maintenance. And at the end of the maintenance, our engineer will hand over a report to our customer where he mentioned all the abnormalities that he detected during the maintenance so that they can react in time to correct them immediately, and this will for sure increase the availability of the device.
Wow, that was a long list, so I have no doubt that the maintenance service is covering everything you need. But I think I've also heard about an MSA1 procedure. Is SIKORA offer this one as well?
Yeah, the MSA1 is a special procedure of the automotive industry, and Thomas Vasilov once again has also some further information about the MSA1.
Let's see.
With the calibration of SIKORA measuring devices, the measuring system capability or measurement equipment analysis can be carried out. As a reference, we take the general guide measurement system capability.
Yeah, wow, so you have the calibration, the maintenance, the MSA1. So how are these procedures ending? With a certificate that SIKORA is providing, or what?
Yes, for our customer, after the calibration, the customer needs something to show that the calibration was done.
Yes.
And for this, we have a certificate and a calibration sticker, which we can put on the device and show the next calibration date. This will be handed over to our customer. For the traceability of the calibration, we for sure hand over to our customer the certificates of the calibrated rods as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Jörg. I mean, you are already familiar with the procedure. We will now follow on with our Q&A session over there at the chat corner.
Okay, let's go there.
Let's go. For everyone who has just joined us, you are currently watching our Day 2 live program with the product focus on data, automotive installation cables and optical fibers. And we are now currently sitting together with Mr. Jörg Hischer for a Q&A session about the maintenance and calibration offering here at SIKORA. But before we start with that one, I actually have another question, a first question for you from the previous Q&A session. There was a customer interested about the parts that could fail, commonly failing for the laser series. But common failure, I think it's not the right term, because we heard from your colleague that you have a MTBF, mean time between failures, of 19 years. But still, we just thought maybe this expert question goes to you as a service expert. So what can fail in the laser series?
In the laser series, there can't be failed that much, because the devices are manufactured so that they will not fail. The MTBF will show us how it works.
Right.
For the laser, it is quite important to keep the optical system clean, and therefore we are offering special cleaning tissues to avoid that we get scratches on this on the surface of the array, for example. And yeah, that's all at the moment for the laser.
No, yeah, you have the answer. That's what we said as well. So no failures. No failures at all. Okay, let's go now to the maintenance and calibration part. The first question here is, can maintenance also be done without calibration?
Yeah, definitely it could be done without calibration, but does it make sense as a question? Because our engineer is on site already and he has all the calibration tool with him. So why he shouldn't do a calibration after maintenance to be sure that the device is showing the correct values? It is only a very small time necessary to do that, and so I recommend our customer to order both.
Yes, usually that's also why it says maintenance and calibration service. So it probably makes sense also to avoid too much downtime. I mean, if you're coming again 1 week later or 1 month later, then you have to stop the line twice. So just book everything together. It makes most sense. The second question is, which intervals are recommended for the calibration of my devices?
That's also a good question, but the time will be not given from us. It is something that the customer is doing for himself, because the quality management of the customer, they making the schedule for the calibration. But from my experience, 99% of our customer doing maintenance and calibration every year.
Every year,
Yes.
yeah. But what about the ISO 9001 certification? Do they require any fixed intervals, or?
This is also something that they are making by their own. The quality management of the customer and the customer of our customer are looking for the schedule for the calibration.
Okay, so it's an individual thing. Okay, got that part. Then the next question is, do you offer a service plan for varying parts such as X-ray tubes?
We have a plan for this. The plan is also a part of our device manual, where the customer could find all the information, what kind of maintenance should be done in regular intervals. For the X-ray 8000, for example, maintenance should be done every year to look at all the parts that I mentioned before, and it is all mentioned in the manual.
Yes.
And if we are 1 time a year on site to do maintenance and calibration, the customer could be sure that the device is in a good shape and it is ready for the next year.
Yeah, that sounds good, but what exactly is a service plan? So is it really that you come every year at the exact same date, so it's already booked in advance, or what does a service plan mean? I mean,
our customer looking or asking us to come really on a fixed date.
Yeah, fixed date, right.
If they need calibration 1 time a year, the date for the next calibration is fixed after 12 months. And most of our customers are so that they are also asking for the same technician who is doing the calibration, because he knows then the where are the devices in the plant, and he can do it then very quickly.
Okay, yes, makes sense. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. So next question, is on-site calibration available for all devices?
On-site calibration on customer side is available for nearly all devices. The only exception is our fiber laser.
Okay.
For the fiber laser, we have to ask our customer to return it to us to Bremen for calibration, because the fiber calibration will be done in our calibration laboratory in Bremen by a robot who will guide the calibration rods inside of the measuring range, and this is hard to be done on site for the fiber. But for all other SIKORA devices, we can offer a calibration on site without any problems.
So is it because of these special fiber products, which are very small, and therefore you need a robot instead of a human to do this calibration? Okay, see that point. But okay, good. And but for the meantime, does SIKORA offer any replacement products if they have to send it in?
Yes.
I mean, you have to continue your production.
Yeah, in the service department we have several loan devices which we can offer to the customer in case that he will send devices to us for calibration. And the calibration is something which we could schedule quite well, because we know exactly the device will come on a certain day, we can prepare everything, and so we can do the calibration in a very short time, and during this time, for sure, the customer could get a loan device from us.
Great, so this is also solved. Then we solve the next question, can I perform calibration by my own?
Yes.
And yes and no, right?
It could be done. We are offering also calibration sets for customer to do the calibration by their own.
Oh, really?
But the customer has to purchase on one hand this calibration set.
Okay.
This calibration set has also a certificate which is valid roughly for 1 year, so
really?
It has to be recertified after a year.
Okay.
And if the customer is doing the calibration by his own, he needs a personal on one side, on one hand, and he did not get the big advantage, and the big advantage is the maintenance of the device. So if our engineer is on site, he can do both, calibration and maintenance. And if the customer is doing it by himself, he gets only a calibration, and he has to take care on his own calibration tools.
Can the customer also do the maintenance himself, or not? Is it difficult?
I think it's difficult. It depends on the device, but for the X-ray, I will say it's quite difficult to do the maintenance by himself.
Because of the knowledge, right? You have to train your.
Yeah, we have training courses for our customer, which includes the maintenance, but the best way is to have one of our experienced engineer on site, because they know not only the products, they also know the production of the customer.
Yes.
And
then you can make sure that everything is really done the way it should be.
Yes,
yeah, just to have the expert. But I was quite surprised. So you said you have a calibration set that the customers can use, and it also includes a certificate. I actually would have expected that you can basically do it yourself, but then, I mean, certification for me always means you have a third person or external one having an overlook.
Yeah, the certificate, as I've mentioned, was a certificate for the calibration tools only, not the certificate for the calibration. That means the customer did not get a certificate of SIKORA for the calibration, only for the calibration tools.
And this could be a problem, right? If the customers of the SIKORA customer maybe are requiring external calibration certificate, then it wouldn't be enough. So this, I think, it's important for you to evaluate yourself, what you need, what you are looking for. Is it possible to change the X-ray tube yourself? I mean, that's what we just discussed a little bit, but maybe one or two sentences.
Yeah, if the customer is trained, and if the local authorities allow that, then for sure an X-ray tube could be replaced by the customer itself. And my recommendation in this regard is all the time, please send your maintenance guys to us to Bremen for training. We can offer to you a tailor-made training for this, and during the training we can really replace X-ray tubes. We have special training devices that we could use to train all this, and we can't do that on site. We can't go on site and make a training with the customer to replacing X-ray tube, but we can do it in Bremen, because there we have the special training devices, and then for sure a customer can replace the X-ray tube by himself.
Great. So first do the training and then do it yourself. If the device tends to have some defective or no function at all, or not function well, can it be alert to the user? So I think it's going into the direction, if there's a defect, whether the device itself can recognize and send an alert before breaking down.
In devices, for sure, we have indicator which shows us that the device needs maintenance. That is, for the X-ray, for example, the I/O level or the radiation level of the X-ray tube. If this goes down under a certain value, it shows us that it is time to replace it.
Yes.
For the laser, we could see dirtiness levels, and the dirtiness level will also give us a feedback to clean the device. This is something which must be done for the laser device regularly. So we have a lot of indicator which shows us in time that we have to react.
Okay, I see that point. So based on our time limitation, I would say maybe a last question for our live stage answer. But I mean, Jörg, you're here all the time. You mentioned yesterday you belong to the inventory of SIKORA, so Jörg will stay here for also later on. You can contact him by email, I guess by phone, but also you can book yourself a one-to-one video chat slot with another technical expert here at SIKORA, and they are very happy to hear from you. But here on stage, our last question. As mentioned by SIKORA, there is no calibration. Is it okay? It can run for a long time without. So that's actually an interesting one. So because SIKORA says,
it is.
Yeah.
All the devices that we delivered are calibrated before we ship it to the customer. And they have a calibration certificate which shows that this calibration was done before delivery. And now it depends really on the demand of the customer, whether they need regular calibration to show this to their customer or to their ISO audit, or if they do not need it, if they have the laser or another device only as a as a guiding device which shows values, but they are not interesting whether these values are correct or not. But measuring device, my recommendation is if you have a measuring device, calibrate it regularly, then you could be sure that it is working fine.
Great. Thank you, Jörg. You are done for today, but we will have you back again tomorrow.
Yes.
I already look forward to that. So thanks for the moment, Jörg.
Okay, thank you.
Next, we are going to have a coffee break time, and this is a perfect time for you to have a look around on our virtual event pages if you haven't done it yet, or to book yourself a one-to-one video chat opportunity with one of SIKORA's technical experts. Please also don't forget to leave us your feedback so that we can improve in the future to best serve your needs. After the break, we will again have very interesting talks, for example, with the Research and Development Department. We will have presentation about a fiber series and additional live connections. So please stay tuned and enjoy your break.